Hey guys, Break here. Today we're going to be talking about the new Relics of the Past system, which is coming out in Shadowlands, and I'm going to be going over 4 ways where you can make some pretty good gold with this system. I think it's a really cool system. I'm glad Blizzard are finally making old crafted gear relevant again, and it should provide a nice boost to the blacksmiths, tailors, and leatherworkers in Shadowlands. So let's get into it. So for those of you who don't know, Relics of the Past is a new system in Shadowlands where you can upgrade old crafted gear, so gear from the vanilla or Burning Crusade expansions that you craft. You can upgrade that to level 50 gear, item level 100, so it's going to be as good as sort of normal raid gear from the current expansion. So obviously it won't be Shadowlands quality gear when you get to level 60. You're not going to be using this gear, but it will work when you are level 50. So if you have a new alt that's just hit level 50 and is about to go up to level 60 in Shadowlands, you can gear them out in this type of gear and it's actually going to be pretty good. So again, it's only really for levelers, or maybe for sort of twinks or anyone who wants to do sort of boosting. We'll see how it scales with that kind of thing, but definitely for people who want to just gear up a character really quickly so they're at the level required, so they can easily go into Shadowlands and start leveling up there. So it's a really cool system and it has a lot of gold making potential. So to craft this gear, you can use any of the following. So things like Deep Sea Satin for tailors, or Tempest Hide for leatherworkers, Storm Silver Ore for blacksmith, and then it goes down. So all of these different materials can be used to make the Relic of the Past rank 5, which is going to be the top one, the main one that everyone uses because it gets your crafted gear up to level 50. So all of these materials are going to be sought after, and it means the first way you can make gold with this system is my favorite way of making gold, which is just flipping. So all you have to do is maybe make a TSM group if you have Trade Skill Master, or just go on your auction house and start searching for all of these different materials and start investing in them. Now, many people will already have done this on your servers, so they may already be more expensive than usual. So don't buy out any of these materials if they're way overpriced. Again, check Trade Skill Master, see what the normal price is, and if they're already way above that, then maybe don't buy it out. But if they're still at a similar sort of level, similar price, then do think about investing in these, because I think all of these materials you can start to buy out if they're well worth it, and then you can sell them when this system launches. And I believe this system is launching in pre-patch, and if it is, then that's really cool because it means people who are still leveling in the pre-patch will be able to buy this gear. It's going to be very popular in pre-patch if indeed it does launch then, and so you're going to want to be investing in these. And then you can do multiple things. You can purchase these now when they're cheap and just sell them when pre-patch hits for a lot more gold, or you can purchase these now when they're cheap, make Relic of the Past when the pre-patch comes out or when the expansion launches, and then sell the Relic of the Past for gold. Or you can make the Relic of the Past and add the Relic of the Past to gear and sell that gear for gold. So there's a lot of options for you to be doing with this, and I think it really helps to make this old world sort of materials that weren't that useful. Let's be honest. How many people use sort of Saronite ore? Okay, there's a few sort of old blacksmithing transmog things that required Saronite ore, maybe a couple of engineering mounts or whatever, but in general no one really used it, and this is going to make it relevant again, which is great. So that is the first thing you can do. But before we move on, I would like to mention today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of courses from some amazing creators. In the strange time where we are currently living, Skillshare is a great way for creative people to help break up their monotonous daily routine and try something new. It is great value for money at just $10 per month for a yearly subscription, and you're going to be getting 2 months free Skillshare through clicking my link down in the description. My main job is as a marketer, and I've really been enjoying the Design Great Stuff course from Draplin. providing a really interesting insight into how to build merch for a specific brand. So please remember, link in the description below. You will get 2 months free Skillshare Premium for the first 1,000 people that click it, so don't miss out. So apart from investing in the materials required for these, of course you can make gold by selling the upgraded items. There was a very interesting discussion on the WoW Economy subreddit recently about what sort of items could be really sought after if you upgrade them. For example, the Steel Grip Gauntlets, which have a disarm duration reduced by 50%. This could be extremely popular for PvP, and many people may want to buy out these that are item level 100, so that have had the rank 5 Relic of the Past put on them. Of course, there are things such as the Jagged Obsidian Shield, which means you have a 5% chance of the caster to be silenced for 3 seconds. Again, that's a cool PvP item. There's the Sulfuran Hammer, which could be really overpowered, depends on the scaling. So basically any item that you can craft that has a cool equip sort of feature, if you can craft those and add relics to them, they could become really overpowered in some aspects of the gameplay. Like again, particularly for sort of twinks, particularly for people who want to level quickly, particularly for people who want to do some kind of lower level PvP. All of that could make these items really cool, and I'm really happy about this because again, it adds a bit more depth to the gold making process. It makes you think about these things, it makes you find little sort of mini markets within the game, and I just think it's a great little feature, and you know, adding relics to some of these items is going to be really, really cool. Other things people are talking about are sort of the Burning Crusade items, because lots of those that you crafted have multiple gem slots. So when you use a Relic of the Past on them, are you then going to be able to use loads of gem slots, which could make it really overpowered? People are saying like the Spellfire, Burning Crusade cloth gear. An interesting comment about the Shadowlands leveling. We could have Legion necklaces be really overpowered again. If you guys remember the necklaces in Legion, which had some cool sort of bonuses and equip sort of things that made them quite overpowered, and in fact even in Legion people were buying out those necklaces all the time, and potentially in Shadowlands could be useful to level with those. It's going to be interesting to see if that works, but again, could be something to think about. And that brings me on to my third way of making gold with these, which is kind of more of a benefit rather than a pure way of making gold. But anyway, basically it's going to make farming sort of old crafting recipes a lot more relevant. So right now, people who maybe just joined the game, they can just level up Legion, blacksmithing, and they don't really have to bother with any old world stuff. And if they do, maybe they can sell some of them as transmog, but that's basically it. But for now, it kind of really rewards people that have always had that one profession. For example, you've played since vanilla and you've always had blacksmithing. You've got so many cool recipes on there. Well, now, not only are you going to be able to make those for transmog, but you're also going to be able to make those, upgrade them with the Relic of the Past, and then sell them as really cool twinking gear, really cool leveling gear. And I just think that's great, because I really think people should be rewarded for really spending time on a profession. And I'm really pleased that Blizzard are kind of introducing this feature. And yeah, if you don't have lots of old recipes, now might be a good time to start farming them, because like we say, some of these kind of old world, particularly some of the BC stuff with all of the gems, or some of the recipes that have really cool equip sort of features, or really cool procs, those are the kind of things that could sell amazingly well when pre-patch hits, or when Shadowlands launches, when the system goes live. So make sure maybe you start farming out some of the old recipes, and it could even have a little market. So obviously you can sell some sort of recipes on the auction house, so maybe like plans or whatever. Maybe some of those could go up in price, because now people are going to be more desperate to get these kind of rarer recipes, just because it could make them gold. So again, it's a kind of little mini feature, little mini market in the game that's being introduced because of this system, and I really love that. But yeah, make sure you start farming out those old recipes, particularly the procs. And the final way that you can make gold with this system, and probably one of the most interesting ways, is through the vendor shuffles. Now, Billis and Ixia did a pretty cool Twitter thread on this a few days ago, and I thought it was really, really interesting. So basically, when you upgrade an item with a Relic of the Past, it also upgrades the sort of vendor sell price. So say an item sold for sort of 10 gold to a vendor, but then you use the Relic of the Past on it, it can then sell for 100 gold. And this introduces some really cool flips. So vendor flip is when obviously you just buy an item, edit it slightly, or just buy it out and sell it to a vendor for more. So Billis and Ixia gave a cool example of brown linen pants. So right now, brown linen pants cost 2 bolts of linen and 1 coarse thread. But if you add a relic to it, which a relic, rank 5 relic for example, could be 5 rune cloth. So overall you've got 5 rune cloth, 2 bolts of linen cloth and 1 coarse thread, which will create an item level 100 pants. And these 100 pants vendor for 51 gold. And rune cloth and cloth really isn't that expensive, so you could literally just buy the cloth from the auction house, buy the linen cloth, buy the thread from a vendor, and as long as all of that costs less than 50 gold, you can then vendor it to a vendor for the 50 gold and make a nice bit of profit just from a vendor. And vendor flips are really cool. I've always enjoyed them. Some of my first videos on my channel were about vendor flips. And yeah, if you do the math on that, so if we use this example, that would be 5 gold, 71 silver per cloth. And usually the cloth is worth much less than that, like 1 or 2 gold. So you can make a pretty significant amount of gold doing this. Obviously it takes a bit of time to craft all of these. You'd have to craft like hundreds of pants and sell them all. But as an easy way of making gold, say you're new to a server or you just want to get started with gold making, this could be a really cool little market. And of course what it will also do is make the materials more valuable, because people are going to start wanting to do the flips themselves. They'll be buying out the rune cloth for much more than it usually is worth. So again, this just adds to the fact that you can buy out rune cloth, wait until this system launches and then sell it again. So either one, you can take part in the vendor flips yourself, or you can just make use of the fact that all of these materials are going to be worth more. And yeah, that is going to be that for this video. I think it's an amazing system. I'm really glad Blizzard are trying to make gold making and professions sort of more complex, more relevant, which is great. It gives the gold makers something to do, gives people who have really put time into a profession, gives them something to do. And yeah, it could also lead to inflation, because when the base price of sort of materials goes up, the price of cloth goes up, which it will because of this system, and the vendor flips and everything, it will go up. It basically means that inflation will probably happen, which is going to be good for gold makers because it means more gold can be made. Of course, inflation was always happening until sort of last expansion when it stopped. This expansion has been really not very good, but inflation should start happening again, and that should mean big gold numbers again, which of course us gold making millionaires will really appreciate. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, see ya.